Hello, I am Lauren Ohayon from Restore Your Core, and today we are talking about pelvic pain. So what is pelvic pain? Pelvic pain is any type of pain that you feel consistently and regularly in your pelvic region. It can be more in the front, can be more in the kind of middle area, and it can be more towards the back. It can be sharp, it can be burning, it can be dull, it can feel like an ache, like period cramps that just don't get better. It can also come and go more so if you've been sexually active and then it's flared up for a few days and then it's better. It can come more with exercise. It can come more with hormonal changes, ovulation, menstruation. It can happen one day you wake up and there it is. So pelvic pain is kind of a broader description, but generally speaking, working out the pain and starting to feel better, the protocol is the same no matter what. So no matter what's going on, like it started after birth, or I had a vacuum extraction or a forceps delivery, or I turned 50 and it started, no matter the mechanism, the treatment is usually the same and it's incredibly effective. It just takes time. It can also come with the pelvic floor muscle group being hypertonic, overly tight and tense. A lot of people don't realize they have that condition. They're shocked to find out their pelvic floor muscles are in a state of grip. It can also be, it can come after some trauma. And the trauma does not have to be sexual trauma. The trauma can be life trauma, just like a challenging, difficult moment, something that was too much, too fast, too soon, can create a grip in the pelvic floor, because the pelvic floor is a common place to tighten and grip, like the jaw. They go often hand in hand. It can also come from postural patterns. We're not blaming posture as good or bad. We're not naming and shaming and blaming, but certain postural patterns will put a lot of pressure on the pelvic floor. I'll describe that in a minute. And that can cause the pelvic floor to tighten and tense. And so when there's less blood flow and there's more tension and there's more tightness, we can suddenly get into a state of pelvic pain. And scar tissue is a big culprit. Even if you had let's say you've had a vaginal delivery and you had no episiotomy, you can still have a lot of scar tissue. People are shocked to find that out. And scar tissue can be a big culprit of pelvic pain. And then another huge culprit is nervous system dysregulation. So nervous system dysregulation, where the body is in kind of a state of fight, flight, freeze, stress, overly reactive, goes into shutdown or overactivation mode. So where there's this lack of kind of balance, tone, or this inability to kind of bounce back from a difficult thing. So you're driving your car and someone cuts you off and you're like, oh my gosh, what a POS, right? And so then you just go back to driving and you're like, yeah, whatever. In a dysregulated nervous system, you're like, what an a-hole. And it triggers you and you can't see. Like you're blind, you're enraged, you're mad, you're angry, you're stressed. It capitalizes your experience in the moment. That is dysregulation. Let's talk about the pelvic floor. So those are just some reasons why you might be in pelvic floor pain. The pelvic floor is not just the pelvic floor. I want you to start to think about the pelvic floor as being a system that is working hand in hand, very, very hand in hand with your core and your breathing, your spine, your upper body. So this is the pelvic floor is the bottom of that system. And it's actually on the receiving end of a lot of pressure and load all the time. And so there's always this pressure. And I want you to think about like in the instrument, like an accordion. And in order for the accordion to make music, you have to have all of this kind of expansion and contraction. And, one part of the accordion can't not work. The whole thing has to work all the time to get this perfect sound. If a piece of it is not able to go through this rhythm, then the accordion is not able to produce the music. And our core system is really similar. If one part of our core system is gripping and tight and tense, there's a lack of mobility, the spine doesn't move, the shoulders are very hunched, we're holding our abs tight all the time, we're not going to get that accordion effect. The pelvic floor is constantly responding to pressure and load and movement, and it needs to be able to contract and release effectively during that. So if it can't, it will respond and we get tighter and tighter and tighter. The entire system will kind of respond with a lot of tension. And so then we get stuck in this grip state and we end up with a lot of pelvic floor pain. But the problem is not necessarily in the pelvic floor. The problem can be gripped abs, lack of expansion with breath, postural patterns, lack of mobility. So it's really important that when you're working with your pelvic floor, that you are really looking at the long chain of the pelvic floor and not just hyper-focusing on the muscles, because the muscles there are 100% reactive to what is happening above. So I want to show you a few exercises that you can do to just begin to bring a little bit more awareness and blood flow to your pelvic region. So let's begin actually on our hands and knees. You'll need a stool for this. So grab a stool, and you might need some blocks. So get some blocks if you have them. And we're going to begin on our hands and knees. You can put padding under your knees if they are sore and sensitive. Before you do anything, I want you to try to find one of your sitting bones. So your sitting bones are on either side of your anus, and you'll just find one of them and just kind of rub your sitting bone. If you've gone into soft tissue or you're inside of a hole or inside your butt cheeks, you're in the wrong spot. We're really talking the bone right at the base of the glutes, at the base of your butt. And so you want to find that bone and then find the other one. And you can do this, here on your hands and knees, standing, sitting. You can do it standing, putting your foot up on a chair, just kind of finding your sitting bone there. And then I want you to imagine that someone has dipped each sitting bone into red paint. So just imagine that those sitting bones have been dipped into red paint. And you're going to now draw lines up and down the imaginary wall behind you. So you've kind of got a canvas, a blank canvas. And your sitting bones, not your lower back, not your shoulders, your sitting bones are going to draw that some lines up and down. So you find your sitting bones in your awareness, and you're just going to begin feeling your sitting bones rocking and moving. So I am moving in this kind of cat and cow, but I'm not overly moving the rest of my back. So my neck isn't doing all of this movement and my ribs aren't doing all of this movement. I'm really thinking about my sitting bones, and I can come down to my hands and knees for that. Or my elbows and knees to be precise. And I'm just thinking about drawing those lines. And I want you to do it in a really kind of lazy way, so you're not rushed or quick, and you're just curious. You can let your head drop. You're just being curious about drawing lines on that canvas. The rest of your spine might move in response, but you're not trying to over move it in order to make your sitting bones move. So right here, we're already starting to bring in blood flow to the area. We're actually integrating the core here as well. You may not feel your core, but it is definitely working to help create this motion. Okay. And then after you do that, you are going to stand on your knees. Again, if you need padding, just get blankets or whatever. And you're going to step one leg out to the side. So I'm going to turn my body just so it's easier to see. And you can put your foot up to the sky. And we're going to put our hands on blocks if needed. So when you come down to the floor and it feels too tight, then you need blocks. Or if you come down to the floor and your back can't be straight like mine is, so look at me, it's kind of hunched under, you need blocks under your hands. And you're not going to worry about your foot that's extended. So in my case, I've extended my right leg now. You're actually going to shift your attention to your sitting bones again. Now we're integrating the inner thighs. They're a big player in pelvic pain. They tend to get very tight and tense in an effort to create stability. So you're going to be here and find those sitting bones, find the red paint, and now begin to draw those lines on the canvas. So you are once again, I'm going to do my left leg so you can see me. You're tucking and untucking in your sitting bones. Look at my spine. It's not all of this over activation of my spine, although that feels great. So you can definitely do a bunch of rounds of big cat-cow, but then stop with the big cat-cow and think just sitting bones. And you're just moving your sitting bones. And again, we're bringing so much blood flow because we are unlocking the inner thighs. And you'll do that instead of thinking about reps, because we have to assume that the nervous system is involved. When anybody is in pain, their nervous system is really involved. So instead of thinking about reps, I just want you to do it for when it feels complete to you, which may not be clear to you the first few times you do this sequence. You might be like, why didn't she tell me how many? But you're just going to sink in. You're going to get lazy about it. Again, just getting lazy. Try not to be in a rush. And then when it feels complete, like the process has been completed, you're going to stop and just rest for a few moments. And then so you rest for a few moments until that feels complete for you. We are so used to formulas and everybody telling us what to do, when and how, that it's hard to really listen into what feels complete to you. So grab your stool. And the last exercise is to mobilize the hips, because when people have a history of pelvic pain, what they do again is they shut down, they grip, they tighten and tense. The hips stop moving, the inner thighs get really tight, the pelvic floor is gripping even more. The signals to the brain are danger alert, danger alert. So we want to downregulate all of that. This is an internal rotation exercise designed to really open up your pelvic floor. So you are going to put your chair. I'm going to move my chair around a lot so you can see different angles. But I just want you to see my back leg. And then you're going to step one leg back behind you. Okay? But you're going to turn it inward like pigeon-toed. So I know that sounds weird. So it goes back behind you. How about you do your right leg? And then you turn it in like pigeon-toed. And the leg will be a little bit off to the side, right, on the right leg. Okay, and your arms are going to come down. Your hands are going to come to this chair. So my left foot is pointing straight ahead. No change. My right foot is inward, creating this, and it's out to the side a bit. And I'm just going to hinge at my hips like this and come down. I'm not rounding my back like this. I'm staying nice and straight in my spine. I'm going to kind of actually be on your hands. Bend your elbows and lower down. You're going to come back up and then turn. So your foot was turned in, turn it straight. Now, pivot it in, turn it in, lower down, press up, turn it either straight or a little bit open now. Right? So what we're doing in our foot is like turning a door handle. You're going from the foot being internal to external. So you're getting some really nice hip mobility. The back leg is doing this. Every time you turn it in, you lower your body and then you rise up and turn it out. Now, over time, I would like you to get to the point where you don't need the chair. The problem is if you start without the chair, it's too much, too fast, too soon. It's going for ego, and your body is not ready. Even the super fit people I work with, their bodies are not ready for this without the chair right away. So most people just need the chair at the beginning for support. So we lower down, we raise up and turn it out. But then we start to do it without the chair. So we turn it in, lower a few inches. You don't need to go that far. Don't round your back. And then rise up, turn it out. Your heel can come to the floor. So this front knee, importantly, does not do this. You don't move the foot at all, and you don't wiper the knee at all. Now, these exercises that I showed you, and again, you're going to do it until it feels complete for you. It might be 4 reps, it might be 2 reps, it might be 8 reps. And then after everything, you lie on your back, put your feet up, your legs up on the chair, and you close your eyes and rest. Now, these exercises are very pelvic floor, pelvis, hips oriented. Like I said at the beginning, in order to truly resolve this in the long term, you need to be also looking at up the chain, resolving core tension patterns, breathing patterns. Here's 3 exercises you can do video I'm not able to cover that in a video like this. However, my extremely extensive 12-week program does. It's yours for life, don't worry. So if you are looking, if this felt amazing and you're like, I want more up the chain, then go ahead, join our program. Again, you get the program for life. But in the meantime, while you're figuring it all out, and if you are in a lot of pain, these 3 exercises are really the best place to start to bring blood flow, to bring mobility, to bring this last exercise is a lot of strength. We did lengthening of your inner thighs. We mobilized your hips. We brought more blood flow. That should help you. All of those things should absolutely help you. Don't forget the resting and don't forget to do it unrushed. So doing it in a rush and stressed out and anxious and annoyed and angry and trying to get through it is not going to help you. If your baseline is that you're anxious and angry, anyway, that's okay. Don't try to change who you are, but try to come into this practice with just a little bit of a container of inwardness. I hope this feels great on your body, and let me know in the comments any questions or comments.